Live NFL trivia every Tuesday night on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern. Come show off your football knowledge and have a chance to win cash prizes. Check the link in the description to find out more. And now, on with our feature presentation. Should the Super Bowl be a national holiday? Should the day after the Super Bowl be a national holiday? These are questions that have been asked for the past half century. Somewhere in the ballpark of 100 million Americans watch the Super Bowl on an annual basis. The country seems to shut down when the game is taking place, with fans being enthralled with the action on the field and off the field with the commercials and the halftime show. And it's estimated that over 17.5 million employees took off of work the day after Super Bowl 54, costing employers over $4.4 billion in lost work productivity. Yet Super Bowl Monday is not a thing. Of all the holidays that the country has, it does not have one for the Super Bowl. Many have tried, and in 2016, Ohio Governor and presidential candidate John Kasich even campaigned that Super Bowl Monday should be a national holiday. But it has not happened. At least, not in the continental United States. Because there is one place where in 2001, they actually recognized the Super Bowl as a holiday. Sort of. In 2001, Guam, of all places, somehow treated the Super Bowl like a holiday, with mixed results. And this is the story behind that. Before we talk about why Guam did this, we need some context regarding the island and its relationship with the sport of football. Guam is an American territory in the Pacific Ocean with a population just under 170,000. For some perspective on how small that is, the smallest TV market of a current NFL team is Green Bay, and that market is more than double the population of Guam. However, even though the island is small, and even though the island is 14 hours ahead of the Eastern Time Zone, as it turns out, a lot of people on the island love football and love the NFL. Here are some things you may not know about Guam's love for football. Back in the 1980s, any television program was aired on a week delay. If you wanted to see an American broadcast, back in the days where everything was on tape, any program from America would have to be flown in from California to be rebroadcast. Sports were a part of this as well, except for the NFL. Because even though it was really expensive to broadcast American sporting events live in Guam due to the cost of satellite transmission, if you were in Guam, you got to see the Super Bowl live at the same time that everyone else did. Keep in mind that this was the early 1980s. This is when the NFL was not popular at all internationally, and where many countries didn't even air a condensed version of the Super Bowl on tape delay. Guam got it live. There was an article that came out in 1990 focusing on the island of Rota, which was just to the north of Guam. That article, unprompted, specifically mentioned the fact that folks watched the Super Bowl. There were people in Guam who were part of a church called the Church of Monday Night Football. And no, I'm not making that up. And in a survey taken, more than 45% of all people on the island said that their favorite sport was football. Roughly half of the island says that football is their favorite sport. And for some perspective, that percentage is just 37% in the United States. Guam loves its football. And in 2001, they show this love in a somewhat peculiar way. When you think of Guam and the NFL, one of the first things that should pop into your head is probably the time difference. How and why is the NFL so popular over there when the games are played at super inconvenient times? If you want to watch a game that starts at 1 o'clock on the East Coast, you're watching it at 3 a.m. on a Monday morning over there. Likewise, if you want to watch the Super Bowl, you're watching it on Monday morning right at the start of the workday, with the game being over by lunchtime. It's not exactly the most ideal time slot for football fans, and since the game takes place on a Monday, that is a traditional workday. For Americans in the 50 states, the debate is whether or not to take the day off after the game to deal with any Super Bowl hangovers or exhaustion from the late night. For Americans in Guam, the debate is whether or not to skip work or school entirely to watch the game. Especially back in 2001, when there was no streaming on your phone or online, your options were either go to work and miss the game, or watch the game and skip work. Lots of people in Guam simply skipped work and school and stayed home to watch. With that in mind, there's also something to be said about Guam's location in the Pacific Ocean. It makes the island susceptible to getting hit with typhoons. Much like states in the north have snow days built into the school schedule that allow class to be missed for a certain number of days, if the snowfall gets really bad and the roads are too icy, the school system in Guam had typhoon days built into its schedule to deal with typhoons. The Pacific typhoon season is no joke. In 1997, there were 11 typhoons that hit the Pacific Islands, which tied an all-time record. You need those typhoon days built into the calendar. Fortunately, in 2000, the typhoon season was not bad at all, especially in Guam. No typhoons hit the area over the final 4 months of the year when school was in session. which meant that there was no need to utilize any of the typhoon days. And this meant that educators had extra days to play with. With that in mind, knowing that they didn't need to make up any lost classes because of the typhoons, and knowing that many people missed school and work anyway because of the game, Guam decided to make Super Bowl Monday a holiday of sorts. Tony Diaz, a spokesperson for the Department of Education, defended the decision, saying that because many students and staff traditionally don't show up for school on Super Bowl Monday, the department decided to hold the makeup day this year on the day of the football game. This meant that on January 29, 2001, people were going to get to watch Super Bowl 35 and watch the New York Giants take on the Baltimore Ravens. You didn't have to worry about missing anything important or losing pay. You just got to watch the game and enjoy the day off. Sounds good, right? Well, not quite. Turns out, there was some outrage on the island about the decision from the Guam Department of Education. The main newspaper on the island, the Pacific Daily News, called this move a dangerous precedent and criticized the committee for using the makeup days on trivial matters. In their eyes, where do we draw the line? First, it's the Super Bowl, taking place over half a world away, and then what? And on top of that, these teams aren't even well liked in Guam. The most popular teams in Guam are the California teams, since most television programs were shipped from California. In fact, the most popular team over there is the San Francisco 49ers, which makes sense when you consider the California aspect and the fact that the Niners were building a dynasty and were consistently good as the game was really starting to grow there in the 1980s. It'd be one thing if you had the Niners or the Raiders in the game, but the Giants and the Ravens? The Giants are a New York team, and the Ravens are, for all intents and purposes, a brand new team that no one has any connection to. You're gonna cancel school over that? Plus, you have the people who actually had to work, who wouldn't get to see the game until it was taped till later that night, who were worried about kids spoiling the outcome. Which makes sense because kids are kids, and they aren't exactly known for keeping their lips sealed. In the end, the people weren't exactly treated to a great game. In fact, you could argue that they were treated to one of the worst Super Bowls of all time, as the Ravens won this one handily, destroying the Giants 34-7. I took a deep dive and made a video about the most iconic play from that game, the Jermaine Lewis kickoff return touchdown that all but ended it, if you want to check that out in the upper right corner. While kids were obviously happy to have the day off from school, I'm sure they were disappointed that the game was a blowout, and that the fourth quarter was all but a formality. And at least to my knowledge, Super Bowl Monday as a day off for educators only happened one more time after that, which happened 10 years later for Super Bowl 45 between the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. This was not an annual occurrence. It was not a huge success, as every other year since then, kids in Guam are supposed to be in school while the game is being played. Although the statistics seem to show that this is just a completely wasted day from a productivity standpoint. Still, for those who want some part of the Super Bowl to be a national holiday in America, whether it is that Sunday or Monday, it's interesting that there was one American territory that beat us to the punch. Be sure to like this video, ring the notification bell, subscribe down below if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a lot, and be sure to check out Twitch every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for your chance to play NFL trivia and win cash prizes. Link in the description below. If you want to see videos like this condensed down to 60 seconds, then follow me on TikTok at JaredGamer9 and subscribe to 60-Second NFL History on YouTube. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.